In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern, taking a look at a really severe heat wave that we've obviously already been going through. Depending on where you're at, this could be some unprecedented heat that we've been experiencing. For my local area, I can't remember it ever being as hot as it is now. Of course, I'm relatively young, but it is a very severe and rare type of heat wave that we're experiencing. The temperatures are slightly over 100 in my local area for the past 2 days, very close to it 3 days ago as well. So we've almost had 3 days in a row over 100. The heat indexes are soaring into the 100 and teens, the 120s. It's been very hot. So we're going to take a look at the upcoming temperatures where there will be some relief from that. It's not going to get cool necessarily, but it will get back to normal. And we also expect a huge surge in storminess that's already kind of starting up now, but that's going to continue. Let's take a look here at the past 3 days of temperatures. And as you can see, the temperature anomalies. It's been cold in the west compared to normal. They've been experiencing heat for a lot of June and May. They've now seen a big time cool down, and we call this a negative PNA, which just means colder temperatures along this western seaboard. And this forces warmer air to surge into a lot of the central and the eastern states, which we can see has been in full swing effect here. The most severe heat compared to what's typical has been located throughout parts of the Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and even into the Northeast, where again, we're looking at temperatures that are 10, 15, even 20 degrees above what is normal in the almost peak of summer. So that is why this is so hot outside. Looking at the upcoming temperatures, we can see this frame doesn't look too different from what we just looked at because this is for today. As we work our way towards tomorrow, we can see this starting to break up, especially up here in the Northeast, down through a lot of the central states. We've seen this. There is still some above normal temperatures around for the Southeast. It's just not as severe as it has been. By Friday, we see a lot of these cooler conditions working their way in even more. This is coming due to a lot of cloudiness and raininess and thunderstorms overall that are starting to take over for certain locations. I had somebody comment yesterday and they said, why would thunderstorms lead to cooler temperatures? And it's just a fact of the rain cooling things off, the cloudiness blocking the sun. These are two things that can really cool down the conditions. Even if you're in the same air mass, the clouds and the rain will make things cooler than they would have been otherwise if it was sunny and overall just, clear. Hope that makes sense. We do see some warming in the western areas, and this is something to watch because if this develops into a positive PNA, you can expect near normal to slightly below normal temperatures in the east, which we sort of already see happening for most areas here by as soon as Friday. Saturday looks pretty hot for the Gulf and East Coast areas. There is some regions for the Ohio Valley, more interior, Mid-Atlantic, and then for the Northeast where things are a little cooler. Sunday, again, it just depends on where you're at. We have really cool temperatures compared to normal, very close to areas that are above normal. And again, it's probably coming due to thunderstorms and clouds that are around. Working our way towards Monday, what we're seeing is a full-fledged positive PNA, which again is the opposite. And this is going to allow for some cooler conditions to work their way in from the north here into the eastern states. This is not going to be super cool temperatures compared to normal. At least is not what I'm expecting at all. I expect more close to normal conditions, maybe 5, 7, upwards to maybe 10 degrees below normal, but that is not severe by any means for this time of year. Maybe if you're at 10 degrees below normal or more, it would be very noticeable, but as long as you're under 10 degrees, we're really looking at very close to normal conditions. Tuesday the 1st is a lot of the same. Again, more cooler than warmer, I would say. Slightly cooler than normal for a lot of these areas. Even Friday the 4th here, 4th of July, looks, at least temperature-wise, really beautiful here. I can recall some 4th of Julys that were almost too hot to enjoy, especially for big events where you have to, set up chairs and be out there in the sun. This doesn't look like one of those 4th of Julys to me. We can see we're mostly between 5 degrees below normal and 5 degrees above normal, so we are within 5 degrees of normal for pretty much everywhere in the east here. For the northwest, it does get especially hot here, so that's something to pay attention to. And for a lot of your four corner states where cold isn't really a concern because it's already so hot that these are welcomed conditions, but there is some cooler than normal conditions for those areas. So this looks temperature-wise like a beautiful, beautiful 4th of July. The biggest area at risk of having a not so beautiful temperature-wise 4th of July would be that Pacific Northwest area. But by Saturday the 5th into Sunday the 6th, we see some cooler conditions again working their way into the east. We see that take over for 7th, 8th, 9th. This isn't the very long range, so take it with a grain of salt. What we see happen thereafter is cooler than normal conditions start to develop along the west here, around the kind of 8th, 9th here. And this will likely, if this did occur this way, force warmer air back into the east once again. And we do see that sort of taking place here by the 10th, but we have this warm up starting up again for the west, and it looks like cooler temperatures are on their way, although we do have that warm air mass due to what was a negative PNA just a couple of days before this. So we're moving into a more back and forth pattern. I know it gets confusing when things are moving more quickly, but it would be an up and down, and you'd have some hotter days and a little cooler of days, but still probably hot. I mean, we are in early July by this time frame after all, so it's really hopeful thinking to think that it would not be hot. It's just not excessively hot for a lot of these areas as of now. Although this warm up, if we did see this, could bring in maybe another heat wave into the east briefly. It needs to be 3 days to be a heat wave, so maybe it would be hot enough to be a heat wave, but not last long enough would be how I would put it. But again, we're talking about 360 hours out, so a lot of change is likely to occur. Looking at some of the storminess, and again, these blotches of just storminess, and you can imagine clouds around and within these rainy areas, obviously, are where we're seeing those little blue spots on the temperature. So we're really seeing sort of dynamic cooling from these storms, sort of just blocking the sun in general. We see a lot of thunderstorms along the Gulf and East Coast for tomorrow on Thursday. Friday here. Similar areas, maybe a little bit more interior, away from the coast for the most part, but there is a lot of storms around. And that's a big change from what we've been experiencing the last few days. So that is why we're seeing a progressive cooling pattern back towards normal conditions. Saturday looks stormy as well. So that is really going to break up everything as far as this heat wave is concerned. Sunday, a little less stormy, although we see some of them popping up. Monday is a lot of the same. Tuesday, we start to see a system roll through, 997 there, right around Maine. We get a dragging cold front. Don't expect it to be major in terms of cold air behind it, as we mentioned, but we could see, due to it being 10 degrees cooler than it is out ahead of it, we could see a lot of instability in here and some pretty violent thunderstorms as early as next week. There's also severe weather possible today, tomorrow, and the next day. So really, this wouldn't be anything new, but just a date and time frame to watch here. Wednesday the 2nd, we see some storminess. Thursday the 3rd. The 4th here, again, kind of drying up here for these areas of the south central Gulf states, southeast states, even up into the mid-Atlantic. The main area to be concerned about storms would be this area for some of the plains and some of the Midwest there, perhaps the Great Lakes as well. The Northeast looks potentially showery. And for the four corner states, some storminess in there as well that could disrupt any firework displays. As we make our way towards Saturday the 5th, again, these storms start to drape down again with that advancing, I would say, slightly advancing, almost stationary front, but we are seeing storms along it, and it is moving its way southward. Sunday the 6th here, we see it. We do get less stormy overall in the long range, but as we move towards the 10th, we do get a more major low for south central Canada with another cold front kind of bowing out and potentially bringing our next round of severe weather here. Definitely something to watch for. Daily emojis there. Definitely something to watch for in these areas like the plains and into the Midwest once again. Total precipitation does look to be increasing. We talked about this yesterday that I would bet money on essentially the total precipitation going up and the above average precipitation look in the east, due to the fact that there wasn't a lot happening yesterday and for the most part today hasn't had a whole lot of widespread storminess. but the days following look to be active day in and day out for the most part. So we are expecting to see this just increasing overall, and we've started to see that as soon as today. Let's look at the anomalies, because we have pretty much widespread, slightly above average precipitation expected east of the plains, and really for a lot of the plains themselves. Looking at the Storm Prediction Center outlooks, again, we do have some severe weather as soon as today, really lasting through the 3-day range. We don't have any extended day outlooks, but let's just work through these next 3 days, which will be Wednesday, today, Thursday, tomorrow, and Friday on the 27th. Starting with today, in the lighter greens is what we call a general thunderstorm risk area, and that is because we expect general thunderstorms, but we do not expect severe weather. But these are very tricky forecasts, so heed every watch, warning, and advisory. The darker green area is what we call our marginal risk area, where we expect isolated severe weather to be occurring. We can see a lot of states in there. We do have 2 yellow areas, and that's our level 2 slight risk, where we expect more scattered about severe weather to be occurring. And then we even have an orange area for Georgia and the Carolinas, more in the more western areas and northern areas of those states, in Georgia's case. That is your level 3 enhanced risk, where we expect more widespread severe weather reports to come in. So a pretty active day in the southeast and even for parts of the Midwest and plains for today. Tomorrow, we do slightly chill out with it. We do see general thunderstorm risk area, a very large marginal risk, and another one up there in Montana. But as far as the risk levels, we do downgrade here. Now, don't be surprised if a slight risk pops up somewhere in here, especially I'd be watching the southeast and again that kind of plains Midwest area. And if today is very, very active, they will probably upgrade tomorrow. If today isn't as bad as expected, they might just stick with this. Since it is the same event, weather doesn't really obey the 24-hour cycle. So just because these outlooks are on separate days doesn't mean that the event is a whole different one. Should be obvious. I don't know why I felt like explaining that to you guys, but essentially, we can kind of get a grip and an idea of probably how tomorrow will go based on today. For day 3 on Friday the 27th, similar areas. We do see the northern plains seeing a slight risk there, as well as a marginal risk outside of it. And the southeast, once again, seeing a marginal risk. So 3 days of at least some severe weather expected. Definitely something to watch for. And again, early next week is another time frame I would watch with a cold front coming through. With all that being said, we upload every single day, so be sure to subscribe. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.